Shalom to the sincere brothers. Shalom to the sincere sisters. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah HaKwadash. And I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth to rule well. Romans chapter 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Now, how do you call upon the Most High? You have to say his name, all right, which the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai, all right? So who's calling on those names? It's not going to be the Gentiles, all right? Not the Gentiles that are heathen, but the Gentiles that are Israelite foreigners, all right? That their father's lineage goes back to Israel, you see? And that's why there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek, because we come of the same stock, all right? Which is our forefather, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which was later named Israel. It says, for whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, shall be saved, all right? So that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is something really important, all right? We're to have the names. That's really important to have, you see? And if you blaspheme the names, you're going to be given out to Hashatan, all right, to the deceiver. This is 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 20, of whom is Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme. You see? So if you blaspheme the name, like a lot of people blaspheme the name, they're going to be given unto Satan. All right? And they're going to learn, man. All right? They're going to be delivered unto Satan, and they're going to learn through the punishment that Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has in store for them. All right? But this is about the punishment that 2/3 and that these heathen are going to receive. All right? It says, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? You see? So let's look up that word believe. And it says, in him whom they have not believed. And it says to think to be true. All right, so you have to believe, you have to think that the name Yahweh is his true name, that the name Yahweh Shai is the true name. All right, to be persuaded of, you have to be persuaded. We persuade all men through fear. All right, healthy fear, not that fear that you have when you're a kid and you don't want to go to sleep because it's dark in your room. All right, but that fear and respect that you have for the Most High, Yahweh. To credit, you see, we give credit, have confidence. All right, that goes hand in hand with faith, believing, to be confident that what you're preaching is the truth. All right, so it says, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? You see, so if you're found a liar, then Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to toss you out. And how shall they believe in him in whom they have not heard? And that's why we go out to the highways and the hedges to teach our people. All right? Because they're cursed. Our people are cursed. You see? So now it's our job to wake them up like we were woken up. It says, and how shall they hear without a preacher? You see? So this is all through men's lips. All right? Hebrews 11 and 1. You know what? Let me see if I can get that over here. So like it's Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, Yahweh, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. You see? So Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has always had his men set up to speak to the people. You see? It says, and how shall they preach except they be sent? You see? Because if you're not gathering the flock according to the doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, then you're actually splitting the flock up. All right? If you're not with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you're against Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You see? It says, as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace. All right? And that word gospel is good tidings, good news of peace. And what's that peace for? Yashar Allah, Israel. All right? To the elect, 12,000 out of each tribe and that great multitude that follows. It says, and bring glad tidings of good things, you see? And that's the gospel of peace. Now, this is the book of Proverbs. Chapter 1. And verse 6. So like in verse 5, a wise man will hear and will increase learning. All right, so that's what we're supposed to be doing. Listening, hearing the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, and increase our learning with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has bestowed, so like bestowed on those men. All right, a wise man will hear and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. All right, so we don't turn to our worldly friends, all right, to give us counsel on what we should do, how we should handle situations. All right, we turn to the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. If not through you, then through a brother that's more learned in this little book. It says, to understand the proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. See, so does that mean that it's not the gospel of peace anymore? No. All right, you have to learn the good and the bad. You have to learn your past, what you did, and then improve. You see? And it says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. You see, not everybody has followed through with the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You see? So in Romans 10 and 16, when it says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel, for Isaiah saith, Lord, who hath believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yahweh. You see? So that's how you have faith. Now let's look up that word faith, which it should be the same as believing. Faith, it says relating to the Most High. It says a strong and welcome conviction or belief that Yahweh Shai is the Messiah, through whom we obtain eternal salvation in the kingdom of Yahweh. All right, so it's a certain belief. Faithfulness, fidelity, the character of one who can be relied on. All right, so fidelity in Spanish would be fidelidad, or, which means loyalty. You see? So if you're infiel, that means you're unfaithful to your partner. And when you're found unfaithful, all right, you split up. Same thing with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. If you're found unfaithful and unbelieving, then he's going to spew you out. You see? And our people have to come back to who they really are. All right? So this is, I looked this up. It says California slaughtered 16,000 Native Americans. The state finally apologizes for the genocide. All right? And this was barely posted June 19, 2019. All right? So that wasn't too long ago. But it says enslavement, exploitation, discrimination, violence, forced removal, genocide. Despite inhabiting California for thousands of years, Native Americans faced all of this and more at the hand of California's white settlers and the state government itself. You see? So not until now they're barely apologizing for what they did for, years and years going back. And they're still doing up to date. Same thing with the Negroes, same thing with the so-called Latino. All right, because really they're all native. All right, because this land was given to them by the Most High Yahweh. You see? So it says, despite inhabiting California for thousands of years, you see? So the natives were here thousands of years before the white settlers. So how can they have discovered America if they had been living here for thousands of years? You see? It says, now California Governor Gavin Newsom has made a first of its kind apology to the state's native people. All right. And now, mind you, all right, so-called California was also part of Mexico. So, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those natives were actually Issacharites. You see? Because our people were mingled in with each other. All right? And it's according to the father's lineage. It says it's called genocide. That's what it was, a genocide. There's no other way to describe it. And that's the way it needs to be described in the history books. But they won't do that. I lived in California for 18 to 19 years of my life. And not once did I hear about natives being killed off in California. All right. So that should show you how much you have to do your research. All right. And it doesn't even take too long, man. All you got to do is go to Google and type in Native American genocide, and then boom, a bunch of stuff is going to pop up. All right. Newsom said at a blessing ceremony for a Native American Heritage Center, and so I'm here to say the following. I'm sorry on behalf of the state of California. Look at that. Now it's all good. All right. Now we can all hold hands. All right. It said, and so I'm here to say the following. I'm sorry on behalf of the state of California. Look at that. Look how dry that is, man. You see? But that should be, and that's the first of its kind. All right. First of its kind apology. And how did he apologize? I'm sorry on behalf of the state of California. See? Now we're all good, man. We can all continue with our lives. All right. It says up to 16,000 native Californians died in the genocide, which took place in the 1840s through the 1870s. All right. Like I said, there was Issacharites there around that time too. Most of the deaths occurred during hundreds of the massacres during which the state and local militias encircled and murdered native peoples. The genocide was facilitated by discriminatory California laws and the outright support of state officials and federal authorities who condoned and supported the attacks. But now they want to say sorry, and they want you to accept that apology. All right? Now let me hit the scriptures. This is Isaiah 65 and verse 15. It says, and ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord Yahweh shall slay thee and call his servants by another name. Now, why do you think your last name is probably Gonzalez or Matthews or, Garcia? All right, because it's not your last name. All right, our people spoke Hebrew, just like the Lord. All right, they decided to change his name too. And that's a curse, man. All right, our Lord's name is Yahweh Shai. And he's the Messiah, HaMashiach. But they want to change his name to Jesus, which it doesn't translate to anything on the Hebrew. All right, and neither does Christos. They made it. They made it into the translation of Messiah. But it's not. All right. So Jesucristos is actually somebody that's not even supposed to be in this holy book. His name should be Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, so even they changed his name, but also they changed ours. All right, that's why you have that Spanish or English last name. And that's why you don't speak your language. All right, you speak a broken bastard language, which is English or Spanish. And if you speak a native language, then it's a broken Hebrew. All right, so let me read that again. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. Now, who are the chosen? Israel, the Negro, Latino, and the Native American. All right, but only a remnant, few numbers. All right, for the Lord Yahweh shall slay thee, like I said, genocide, and call his servants by another name. All right, so now we have these names that don't have necessarily a Hebrew, of a Hebrew tongue. You know, they might derive from a Hebrew name, but it's a different language. You see? So what we need to do is go back to our power, which is Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so let me get what was that? It was Isaiah 45. I believe it was verse 5. So like at 47. 5, I think it was 6. All right, Isaiah 47:6. I was wroth with my people. Again, who are his people? The ones that are suffering, the Negro, Latino, and Native American man. I have polluted my inheritance. And given them into thine hand. Whose hand? Esau, Edom. Thou didst show them no mercy. So is this showing mercy? When 16,000 native Californians died in the genocide? Is that showing mercy? All right, and now they want mercy. But Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has spoken. Give unto her double as she has done unto you. And she did it, all right? Edom did it once before. Then they fell. And then Edom did it once again. So that's 2 times, man. All right? Really, it's more. It's more than just 2 times. All right? Every time that Amalek had the chance, they would stand up against Israel and join sides with a different country, with a different people. All right? So all this happened because of judgment. All right? It says the apology comes in the wake of centuries of mistreatment of native Californians. Before white settlement, at least 80 languages were spoken by a variety of native peoples in what is now California. Animosity towards native Californians predates the state. During California's tenure as a Mexican province in 1804 to 1848, Spanish missionaries seized native lands and pressured them into living in and laboring for missions. Epidemics wiped out tens of thousands. All right, and that's the same settlers. Those are the same people that later came in a different language. The same people. All right. It says once California was handed over to the United States at the end of the Mexican-American War, things became even worse for the new state's native population. The man who discovered gold, all right, and there they use that damn word again, man. Discovered. You don't think the natives knew about that? All right, but they discovered it. All right, they discovered gold. At Sutner Mills, was led to the precious metal by native people. Look at that. It says was led to the precious metal by native people. So then who discovered it? All right, who discovered it if they were led to it? You see? But that's just the pride of Esau Edom. It says under the control of John Sutter, but despite making the gold rush possible, the state's native peoples were enslaved. So what happened to Negroes only? It wasn't Negroes only. It was Native American people too. All right, and that actually includes so-called Mexican, so-called Chilean, so-called Argentinian, so-called Venezuelan. I can't say it in English. Venezolanos. All right, in Spanish. But the so-called Latinos, so-called Hispanics, those are all native peoples here, man. Those are the 10 tribes of Israel. All right. It says the state's native peoples were enslaved, displaced, and discriminated against. All right. It says, indeed, the very foundation of the state was built on a foundation of hatred against Native Americans. At his second state of the state address, the state's first governor, Peter Hardman Burnett, referred to the Indian foe and called native people robbers and savages. Look at it. All right, that's exactly how Esau Edom operates. All right, smooth words. But the whole time he had drawn swords. All right. It says that a war of extermination will continue to be waged between the races until the Indian race becomes extinct. Must be expected, he said. You see? And that's the hate that Jacob has, or Salaki, not Jacob. All right? Jacob should, but Jacob loves his master. All right? But that's the hate that Esau has towards Jacob. All right? So this is the book of Obadiah. And I'm going to read from verse, let me see. Let me start off at verse 6. So this is Obadiah chapter 1, which is only one chapter. But verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hid things sought up? You see? And this is something that we wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for the internet. All right? Which proves that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had set this up. That way his things can be searched up. How do you search them up? Go to Google, you type it in. Boom, you already searched. All right. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee, all right, and the natives were at peace with him, have deceived thee, Salakia, have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. So the other nations were at peace with Esau Edom. All right, and they deceived Esau Edom. But also, who did Esau Edom deceive? Israel. Because Israel was at peace with Esau Edom. You see? It says, they that ate thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? All right, so this place is going to be laid waste. And thy mighty men, O Terman, shall be dismayed. At the end of every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You see? The same thing that you did to our people, the same thing is coming back to you. And this is verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You see? So for the violence that you did against the Negroes, for the violence that you did against the Latinos, the natives, you're going to be cut off forever. All right? Because you hate Jacob. You see? And that's why Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to cut you out. And that's why right now he's building the house of David. You see? So this is Acts. So like not Acts. Amos chapter 9 and verse 11. And that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will rise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Now, in the days of old, all nations were under the rulership of David. All right? So the same thing is going to happen now. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, you see? So there's going to be a small remnant of Edom, and they're going to be judged. All right? We're going to possess them and of all the heathen. You see? So all you other nations, y'all going to get it too. Which are called by my name, saith Yahweh, that doth this. All right? So the Most High is doing this. And there's no way, there's nothing you can say to stop it. All right? It says, indeed, the very foundation of the state was built on a foundation of hatred against the Native Americans. At his second state of the state address, the state's first governor, Peter Hardman Burnett, referred to the Indian foe, all right, foe is enemy, all right, he's hated his brother Jacob, and called native people robbers and savages. Now, how the hell were they stealing if they were here thousands of years before? All right, how the hell are they savages if the white settlers are the ones that massacred and had a slaughtering of Native Americans? That a war of extermination will continue to be waged between the races until the Indian race becomes extinct must be expected, he said. All right, let me see if I can find that. So days. All right, Slovakia. So, we'll read Matthew. This is Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now, who are the elect? The Negro, Latino, and Native American man. All right. And what did he say? It says, the Indian race becomes extinct must be expected. You see? So unless those days be shortened, that's exactly what Esau Edom is going to achieve. But for the election's sake, those days will be shortened. So he's never going to get to that point. You see? This is it says the little known underground railroads that ran south to Mexico. All right, so it says the underground railroads ran south well as north. For slaves in Texas, refuge in Canada must have seemed impossibly far away. Fortunately, slavery was also illegal in Mexico. And why is that? Because they were in slavery. All right. It says researchers estimate 5,000 to 10,000 people escaped from bondage into Mexico, says Maria Hammock. So you can't be surprised if some Gadites that look like Gadites are actually Judites. Some Judites that look like Judites are actually Gadites. And some Issacharites might be actually Judites. All right? That's just the spirit of our people, man. It says, who is writing her dissertation about this topic at the University of Texas at Austin, but she thinks the actual number could be even higher. All right? It says these were clandestine routes, and if you got caught, you would be killed and lynched. All right? Now, number one lynching in the United States would be of so-called Negroes. All right. Number two lynching in the United States would be so-called Mexicans, so-called Latinos. All right. And number three, I believe, is the lynching of the so-called white people that helped out the natives or the Negroes. They got lynched, but really they could have been Jakes that had compassion towards another Jake, because there is confusion of faces. You see, you look at Logic. His father was Jamaican, or I believe he passed away, but his father was a Jamaican. That makes logic a Benjamite. All right, because the seed goes through the father. Same thing with Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, his father could either be a Levite or a Judite. All right, which makes him a Levite or a Judite. But if you see Blake Griffin's son, his son looks more pale and blonde hair, all right, and colored eyes. He looks like an Edomite. But really, he's a Judite or a Levite. You see? So there is confusion of faces. Because then if that's the case, then, there would be a lot of Israelites that aren't actually Israelites. Like J. Cole. J. Cole, when he makes music, people can realize, people can vibe, people can connect to what he's saying. But if that were true, that it's only Negroes only, all right, then that means that he's not, because his mother's a heathen woman. You see? It says there is some evidence that Tejanos, or Mexicans in Texas, acted as conductors. All right, so the Issacharites would help out Judites or Gadites escape from the United States underground to Mexico. In addition, Hammock has also identified a black woman and 2 white men who helped enslaved workers escape and tried to find a home for them in Mexico. You see, so-called white men, they could have actually been Israelites. Confusion of face, that felt compassion towards their brother. It says, Mexico abolished slavery in 1829 when Texas was still part of the country, prompting white slave-holding immigrants to fight for independence in Texas Revolution. Once they formed the Republic of Texas in 1836, they made slavery legal again, and it continued to be legal when Texas joined the U.S. as a state in 1845. All right, because Texas was really belonging to no one. But when the white settlers came to Texas, they tried to take Texas away through manifest destiny. All right, which that word manifest means to appear or to make. And obviously destiny is something that is set up, which it was. In a way, manifest destiny is true, because Yahweh Hashem Yahushai was going to punish us for what we did. All right, so this is, let me go on this one. Book of Maccabees. First book of Maccabees is going to be chapter 3. It says, First Maccabees 3:41, and the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much, with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. All right, so what was is to be. All right, so it's happened in past times, man. All right, in the book of Maccabees, it tells you how, in the time of the heathen, the uprising of the heathen, Salakia, the uprising of the heathen, how they would treat Israel. All right, Rome was around, Spain, Hispaniola, all right, the Greek. So all these other countries that Israel had to fight, they made friends with some, and then they made enemies, all right. But all this time, they hated Israel, all right. They might have their paperwork. You know how Esau, Edom is with their paperwork, and that's exactly what they had back then. An agreement through paper, all right? But that's what they always do to Israel, you see? And that's why people have fallen. This is Joel chapter 2. And let me see. Was it Joel 2? Let me see. Come on, let me start off at verse 12, but let me read verse 1, and then I'll jump down to verse 12. It says, Joel 2:1, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. All right, so that time is coming when we're going to be taken out of this slavery. You see, so we have to be found clothed in this truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, believing 100%, having belief, faith, confidence. All right, so verse 12, it says, therefore also now saith Yahweh, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. All right, because we should be in a mourning state. You see, we shouldn't be all happy and merry, trying to make this land is my land, this man is. All right, that's one of the songs that I learned when I lived in California. This land is my land, this land is your land. All right. Which really, it's not their land. All right, but it says, and rend your heart and not your garments. All right, so it's more important for you to work on the spirit than to work on your appearance. You see, and turn unto Yahweh your power, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil, who knoweth if he will return and repent, and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto Yahweh your power. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. And that's what we're to do. All right, call a solemn assembly, and we're supposed to get serious about this. All right, because solemn means seriousness. All right, so this is the word solemn assembly, which is an assembly, sacred or festive meeting. All right, sacred, and this word is sacred. All right, Salakia. All right, Esau's damn technology. All right. It says a brutal history of anti-Latino discrimination in America. I'm going to start it off over here. It says in 1931, police officers grabbed Mexican Americans in the area, many of them U.S. citizens, same thing as the Negroes, same thing as the natives, and shoved them into waiting vans. Immigration agents blocked exits and arrested around 400 people who were then deported to Mexico, regardless of their citizenship or immigration status. Now, if you see that movie, all the brothers have seen it, or that show, When They See Us, all right? And even some people that I know that are not necessarily in the truth, they've seen it, and they talk about the same thing, man, So this word is getting out, man. You see, and they push our people into the ghettos, all right? Or the barrios, as I'm going to read over here. It says, actually, I think it's up here. Let me see, icons, barrios, segregations. It says the raid was just one incident of a long history of discrimination against Latino people in the United States. So the same thing is happening to all our people. Since the 1840s, anti-Latino prejudice has led to illegal deportations, school segregations, and even lynching, often forgotten events that echo the civil rights violations of the African Americans, which are actually Israelites from the tribe of Judah, in the Jim Crow era in the South. The story of a Latino American discrimination largely begins in 1848 when the United States won the Mexican-American War. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which marked the war's end, granted 55% of Mexicans' territory to the United States. With the land came new citizens. The Mexicans who decided to stay in the U.S. territory were granted citizenship, and the country gained considerable population, Mexican-American population. It says, let me see if I can just skip down because my battery's dying. All right, they're saying anti-establishments. It says Anglo establishments, all right, and segregated into urban barrios in poor areas, though Latinos were critical to the U.S. economy and often were American citizens. All right, so same thing with the Negroes. They were put in the hoods. We were put in the barrios, which are the ghettos. You look up that word ghetto, it says a section of a city, especially a thickly populated slum area inhabited predominantly by members of an ethnic or other minority group. All right, but when you look down here, it says formerly in most European countries, a section of a city in which all Jews were required to live. And look at that, we're all Jews. The Negro, Latino, and the Native Americans were all Jews. All right, Judah being the head tribe. Salaki, I don't know what the fuck is going on. God damn it. All right, so let me see if I can end it real quick. If not, shalom. This is Jeremiah chapter 8 and verse, it says, verse 10. Therefore will I give their wives unto others, which are the Edomites, and their fields, which are the Israelites, to them that shall inherit them, which are the Edomites. For everyone from the least even unto the greatest is given to covetousness. From the prophet even unto the priest, everyone dealeth falsely. And we all went off, and we have to realize that. All right? And when we realize that, we come closer to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So with that, Akim, Wa, Aquathium, I want to say Shalom, peace and blessings to the 12 tribes. And as always, giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah HaKwadash. Shalom, stay strong out there and keep fighting for this truth until the end. Shalom.